On 21st September, World Alzheimer Day is celebrated. This year, 2023, World Alzheimer Day theme is Never Too Early, Never Too Late. That will emphasize on risk factors and risk reduction. Based on this theme, our seminar for today is Addressing the Future of Dementia, Caregiving and Services. I sincerely invite on stage Professor Vishwajit Desai, Head, Department of Physiology. I request Aruna to felicitate Sir. Sir, I would request you to say something about this program.
Okay, so a very welcome to all of the dignitaries and students discussing. And I am also a little bit nervous because some of our ISP groups and these are here. So I want to come picturing. So I learned a lot of them when I was in ISP training in the 1992 to 1997. And it is also a great honor for us, particularly the Science College campus, considering the Department of Physiology, Psychology as well as other departments. INSA is recognizing this place to hold a chapter, program chapter in our campus. So I welcome all of your dignitaries from INSA, from CPEPA, from ARDSI, and the students, research scholars. So hopefully we learn a lot of things from the trainers, particularly the dementia actually occurs in the human body and how it links to the physiological system as well as with the increment of age. That can be discussed and that can be learned from our previous speakers. So without any further delay, I welcome all of you and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I warmly welcome Dr. Manisha Kolkata, Head Department of Psychology, to come and give the welcome address as well. Before that, I call upon Shampulita, our research scholar, to felicitate ma'am with the memento.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed speakers of the day, respected senior academicians, dear colleagues and staff, distinguished participants, beloved research scholars and students, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the Department of Psychology, University of Calcutta, in today's program, where we attempt to observe World Alzheimer's Month, being jointly organized by the Indian National Science Academy, INSA, in collaboration with the Departments of Physiology, Psychology, and the Center for Protection with Excellence in Particular Area, CPEPA, with the help of Alzheimer's and Related Disorders Society of India, ARDSI, Calcutta chapter. Our attempt is to be aware of the neurodegenerative disorder in the form of Alzheimer's dementia, its future, caregiving, and services in terms of how we stand where we do today. On the occasion, it is my pleasure to welcome the inaugural addressee, Dr. Hemanta Kumar Majumdar, convener, INSA Kolkata chapter, Dr. Chitra Mandal, honorary visiting professor of Diamond Harbour Women's University and advisor, INSA Kolkata chapter, specially invited lecturers, Dr. Nishi Pulu, Associate Professor, Department of English, Brahmananda Keshav Chandra College, and Ms. Nilanjana Mole, Secretary General of ARDSI, Calcutta chapter, for being with us. I would also like to welcome our senior teacher, Professor Dr. Nilanjana Sanyal, for being present today. Thank you, ma'am, for being able to my special regards to the coordinator of CPEPA, Professor Dr. Pritham Mukherjee, and the head of the Department of Physiology, Professor Vishwadev Vishai, for their cooperation. Warm regards are also due for Dr. Amit Ghosh, advisor, INSA Kolkata chapter, and Professor Shanjit Dey of the Department of Physiology. The increasing prevalence of cognitive decline with age, particularly due to dementia, poses a critical challenge in today's world. Marked emotions paint the affective canvas of people with such degenerative disorders, some being depression, humiliation, loneliness, helplessness, burden, embarrassment, and the sheer aching wretchedness of loss. The need is palpably felt for dementia-friendly communities as well as complementary and alternative interventions. Caring for the caregivers of dementia also becomes mandatory. We sincerely hope that today's will enable in igniting the much needed awareness of the disorder so that adequate measures can be adopted easily. Without much ado, let us begin and make the program a success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful inaugural speech. Now I welcome on stage Dr. Himanshu Majumdar, convener INSA, Kolkata chapter. Sir is holder of FTWAS, FNA, FASC, FNASC, Massey Senior Scientist Platinum Jubilee Fellow, CSR, IIC. I request our research scholar Zulfa to felicitate Sir.
Very good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for me to be here in this occasion of INSA, Indian National Science Academy, Kolkata chapter Science and Society program. Indian National Science Academy is a premier organization and the highest scientific establishment in the country. It's a great honor for me that I am here. It is nothing new to me because I was a regular teacher in this department of biophysics and I used to teach here for quite some time. So I was a regular teacher and also very much associated with the department. INSA, as I said, is a premier organization. It was founded in 1935, almost how many years? 65 and then 85 years. So, International Science Academy, the head of it was, earlier it was established in Calcutta, in the building of Asiatic Society, the 1st January 1935. Then the organization or the establishment was shifted from Calcutta to Delhi, and our Prime Minister, then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, he actually requested the INSA in Calcutta office to transfer it to Delhi. So in 1948, the office was to Delhi and it is established over there. INSA, as the objective, it was established on the basis of some of the programs to be developed for the country. So INSA has several chapters or the branches, 20 plus 17 branches all over the country. And Calcutta is one of the most important and active organizations. The objective of this organization, INSA, and the local chapters are to promote science, scientific mind, scientific well-being, scientific knowledge, propagation, and the need for science among the population of India. So they are working, not only giving lectures, but also conducting programs. Almost every month we conduct some programs for the people, but underprivileged. in the scientific chapter links to the civil chapter. So we are organizing several programs in Calcutta and outside Calcutta within the district of West Bengal. So I don't want to say much, but it's a very prestigious organization. Members are selected, not selected, they're elected on the basis of their scientific competence, their contribution in science, and the society also, because we are because the scientists who are the fellows, they not only conduct research, they also contribute some knowledge to the society, particularly for the underprivileged. So it's a very important organization. And we have with us several scientists, and one of our very important person of Indian National Science Academy, Central Vice President is here with us, Dr. Amit Ghosh. He is also from this department. So long back, he did his master's and also did his PhD from the Science Institute. And this is the biology department. Anyway, I am not going to take much time. All my good wellness to all the students, particularly the young teachers, because the teachers are really lacking in the country. Good teachers. The teachers should be very good, and I think the young minds too. What I can see here, they are also very much addicted to teaching, addicted to reading. So we expect a lot from them. So I think I said something to you. Therefore, thank you very much for. INSA was founded by legendary scientists, not only INSA, another academy. There are 3 academies in the country. Indian National Science Academy, National Academy of Science in Allahabad, where Professor Dementia was a professor at Allahabad University. He established NASI, National Academy of Science in India, and Professor Dementia is also a faculty and is one of the pioneer person of developing this Indian National Science Academy. Another academy is the Indian Academy of Science, which is established in Bangalore, that is done with the help of contribution of Professor CPEPA and others also. So with this, I told you some of the history. Lots of histories are there in Indian National Science Academy. It's a great organization, and very difficult to be a fellow of this organization. So thank you very much. We wish everybody, all the young fellows, who once in the future they will become a fellow of this academy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such insightful and societal speech. Okay, now I would request Dr. Amit Ghosh, advisor, INSA Kolkata chapter, PhD, DSc, Honorary Causa, FNA, SC, FASC, FNA, FTRS, NASI, Honorary Scientist, Vice President, Indian National Science Academy, and NICET, ICMR. So I will request Aruna to felicitate sir. Okay, so now we are crawling towards our lecture series. To introduce our first speaker, Ms. Nilanjana Maulik, Secretary General of ARDSI, Calcutta chapter. The topic of discussion will be on dementia, caregiving and services. So I courteously invite Dr. Chitra Mamul, advisor in the Kolkata chapter. Ma'am is the recipient of FTWAS, FNA, FASC, FNASC, FNAMS, ACRD Distinguished Fellow, Honorary Visiting Professor, Diamond Harbour Women's University. Ma'am will be felicitated by Shompolita.
everybody. Nice to see so many students here. And that's how our speaker, Mrs. Devananda Momi wants. She wanted to convey whatever she wanted to say, especially to the future generation, because these generations will take care of the senior people like us. So she is the Secretary General of Alzheimer's Related Disorder Society of India, Kolkata chapter, and she is there since its perception since 1999. These RDCI is a non-profit, non-government organization, and their real aim of these organizations is to spread the awareness, because when you listen to Nilanjana, you will know, even in the villages, even not only in the villages, in Kolkata also, nobody would like to believe that, I have a dementia, or my father has dementia. But that awareness has to be there so that we can take care of it. So that is the message she will tell you. In short, her CV is very, very attractive. She trained herself in USA, UK, Australia, wherever she took a chance, she trained herself. And I knew her only 5 months back for some reason. And when I came to know in Bangla, বলতে গেলে আমি বলবো যে ওকে আমার পার্টি ছাড়া কিছু মনে হয় না, কারণ এত একজন educated person and leaving behind her husband, 2 children in USA, she alone came back to India to serve India. So পাগল ছাড়া কাকে বলবো, এটা আর কি বলবো। So anyway, regarding her degree, she is a fellow of Commonwealth Association of Aging and Triple Master Holder. She is the first gold medalist in Sociology and Social Anthropology from North Bengal University, because she is born and brought up in North Bengal. Then in USA, she did her she did a degree in the management of human service from Brandeis University, USA. And then she went to UK to train herself to study dementia from University of Stirling, UK. Then she made a specialization in end of life care from Stanford School of Medicine, and is an international master practitioner of Spark of Life philosophy from Dementia Care International from Australia. And as I said, since 1999, she is building this RDC, Calcutta, and this is considered to be one of the best support organization in India, and her aim is to campaign the awareness to train other training and other related and main goal of her is to strengthen the dementia care in India in recent future. This is a very, very short biodata of her. Her span of work is so diverse, it's unimaginable how she works from day to night. So with this very short introduction, may I call Mrs. Modi to come over and share with her, and we are all eager to hear you. Whoever has been registered, please don't go away in between, because at the end we will be giving the certificate for admission participating in this particular workshop.
special and noteworthy information about the mementos that has been presented to all our dignitaries and honorable guests today. This token has been handcrafted by Mr. Pahun Haldar. He is a resident of North 24 Kolkata. His skillful and artistry passion will be elaborated more by my professor Sanskrit.
It was crafted by Mr. Pawan. Okay. So it was handcrafted by Pawan, and he has many this kind of creatures of his own. So I like to promote his creativity and innovation. So though he's prepared this one, the what is called the Guru Gadi, but I think he is positive to prepare also a miniature of Chandrayaan, Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3. So he told me that he promised me that he can build up that kind of thing, and he could not bring his creativities today because of the heavy shower and all. But wish him all the best, and you can also promote his work in your future work. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. Good to see smiling faces. And I remember almost 25 years back, when I would go and talk about dementia, I wouldn't really see smiling faces. And people wouldn't really smile to hear about dementia. But the fact that you are willing to listen and you are happy in yourself is a good sign for people like us who would like more and more people to come and understand what the experience of dementia is. Not the biological experience, but more the human experience of what it is to live with dementia. Before I begin my presentation, just on behalf of my organization, the Alzheimer's and Related Disorder Society of India, the Calcutta chapter, I thank the Indian National Science Academy Kolkata chapter, Department of Physiology, Department of Psychology, and UGC-Centre for Potential Excellence in particular area, University of Calcutta, for this wonderful opportunity to come and share our thoughts, our experience with you all. The audience, sincere gratitude for your presence today. I think, as Dr. Mahmood mentioned, younger generations are to take everything forward for us. So if you understand, if you feel it within you, I think the job is more than done. Being able to share dementia-related information in the month of September is a huge support for organizations like ours, because many of you know September is World Alzheimer's Month, and throughout the world, organizations like ours, we promote the condition that is dementia. We represent people who are living with the condition, the caregivers who are day in and day out caring for their loved ones, not just the family members, but also professionals like me, and there are a lot of other professionals here representing my organization here today. We all really want the community as a whole to come forward and understand the condition. There's a slight change in sequence, of course. Presentation today, Dr. Nishi was supposed to start, followed by me. We decided I should go first, given my content, and apologies for any inconvenience. My talk, ladies and gentlemen, will basically focus on the essential steps that we need to consider keeping in mind the future of the condition, the caregiving and services around it. Let me start with how dementia will look in the coming years. So here you see the global figures. We have listed 10 countries in the world, and India stands second in terms of dementia population right now. It's 8.8 million people, which is about 88 lakhs, living with this condition right now. If I see the increase in the number of people living with dementia in coming years, this is a very recent study by AIMS Delhi and the University of Southern California that says that the 8.8 million will go to 17 million by 2036. Not very far. We will be having a huge number of people living with dementia in coming years. And this study itself has also highlighted a few points, which is women will be living with this condition more than males. So we will have more women living with dementia than men in coming years. The second point is that people living in the rural areas will be more affected than in the urban areas, because India's population lives in the rural areas. And India's population, the elderly population, is going to increase in coming years. And therefore, we will see a huge number of people living with this condition. If I go by state in India, I will see the one in dark red is the highest prevalence, which is Jammu and Kashmir currently. West Bengal is not very far. The orange color is West Bengal. It has about 9.23% prevalence. And then, dark green is the lowest. Delhi is supposed to be the lowest. So, given that we all live in the state of West Bengal, we have to really sit up and think how we are going to tackle this epidemic that's coming to us. These are some of the facts. Irreversible dementias can affect anyone and is currently incurable. The irreversible types. There are, of course, reversible types also, right? There are certain dementias that are reversible. Thyroid issues, vitamin B12 deficiency, brain injury. This could be, you could have dementia signs and symptoms, but they are reversible conditions. But the ones that we deal with, the organization deals with irreversible types, which is Alzheimer's disease, one of the most common forms of dementia. You have vascular dementia, which is actually in India higher than Alzheimer's disease. You have Lewy body dementia, you have frontotemporal dementia, and there are many other types of dementias. And all of these are incurable at this point of time anywhere in the world. It is not a normal part of aging. So though age is a risk factor, not every elderly will be developing dementia. That is something that we have to be very clear about. It is common over the age of 65, but we also see people in their early 30s, 40s, or 50s developing early onset dementias. So the younger should not be relaxed that we will not get it. It depends on the type of dementia that we have. And the last, but not least, but very important point, which is that dementia, all types of irreversible dementias are not mental illnesses. The brain changes happen, there's damage in the brain, and therefore the pathology of the brain changes. It is not a mental illness. The mental health of the person is affected for sure, but it is not a mental illness. So these are some of the facts we wanted to share with you. Now coming to how do we manage dementia in the coming years and future. And this is for you all to really understand. These are the four main pillars to consider. Number one is preventing it well. Number two, diagnosing it well. Number three, supporting it well, people who are living with it, to support them well. And also make sure that they are living with it well. There are lots of diseases that we live well with, diabetes, hypertension. These are diseases we are living with and well, so why not dementia? So we have to make sure that not only supporting these people, but also making sure that we have programs and services that are making sure that these people living with dementia and their caregivers are living well with the condition. And last one is time. This is very, very important because with the improvement in medical science, whether you want it or not, you're going to live longer. And since you're going to live longer, you are going to experience a lot of health conditions as well as emotional mental conditions. So it is important that we also ensure that every person dies well. And not just community, but as a person, I need to take my responsibility of how I want to die. And so dying well is one of the pillars of management. Now coming to prevention, I'm really focusing on prevention because I think as younger people, you really need to start working on it right now so that you make sure you are not among that 8.8 million or the 17 billion that will be in 2036. So when it comes to the prevention, the key is variety. You cannot be saying I sleep well and therefore I will not have dementia. You could be not eating well, you could not be exercising. So you have to basically make sure that you are doing everything. Number one is, of course, eat well. So when we say eat well, we know what is good for our body. We have to focus on that. You have to sleep at least 6 to 8 hours every day. And we have to exercise well. So the World Health Organization is saying about 150 minutes of exercise per week, which is about 20 minutes per day. And there has to be a lot of balance exercise involved in your exercise regime. Because what we do is, we do all kinds of exercise, but we don't focus on balance. As we age, balance is affected, and therefore we have to make sure that when we exercise, we involve a lot of balance exercise. Doing things differently. What do you think doing things differently means? Any idea? Anyone sitting here, have you any clue what doing things differently means?
Brushing the teeth with left hand.
Yeah? Brushing your teeth with your?
Non-dominant hand.
With your left hand. Are you a lefty?
No.
No? Okay. So using your non-dominant hand is what is being prescribed. Try and use your non-dominant hand to do your activities. The more you do, your brain is going to be stimulated. You should eat with chopsticks more often. Even your dal and rice. The more you eat with chopsticks, the more your brain is stimulated. Close your eyes when you're taking a shower. চোখ বন্ধ করে স্নান করা। চোখ যখন আমরা বন্ধ করি তখন আমাদের পূর্ণ সেন্সেস গুলো কাজ করতে শুরু করে। So if you can close your eyes, make sure you are safe though. But try and do these things. গাড়িতে যখন আমরা যাচ্ছি, whether your car, your bus, auto, whatever you are in, don't look down on your phone. Look outside the world. Whatever is happening outside the world. কে কি করছে, কে কি বলছে, কিসের গন্ধ পাচ্ছি। Focus on the outside world. It is very important because we tend to look down on our phone, what happens throughout a week. So try and look outside your window when you're traveling. You actually will get a lot of insights into life. Right? So doing things differently is that. Many other things are prescribed in this, where you are asked to learn a new language. Indians already know at least 2-3 languages. We already know to start with 2-3 languages, which is very good for our brain. We sometimes think in Bengali, write in English, right? We do that. Grocery list যখন লিখছি, চিন্তা করছি চাল আনতে হবে, লিখছি rice. So we actually get to do these things, and that is actually a protective factor of our brain. একটা research হয়েছে, Dr. Suvarna from AIMS, not from sorry, INSA, Bangalore, has been working on this, how language is a protective factor for Indians. So try and learn more and more languages, and try and use different language in your Hindi bhalo kore bolte pari na, but lojja pao na, bolbo. Right? English bolte pari na, but bolbo, because it is your trying is what it matters, not how well you are saying it. So do things in various ways. Don't worry about what people think. I already said turn off technology again and again. Definitely the use of technology has huge benefits. There's no doubt about it. You know, we are actually being presented to the world through technology. We know the world through technology. But there are also, you know, everything has a limitation. So you have to make sure that you, and everybody, I don't tell you that you should not look at your mobile this hour, that hour. You will yourself have to decide that I will switch off my mobile or my laptop or whatever I'm doing at this hour of the day. Keep learning and don't give up. Albert Einstein already told us, the day you stop learning, you die. So keep learning. Over our lifetime, about 5 to 7% of our brain is used. Rest 97% of our brain is unutilized. Using করছি না আমাদের brain. So try and start utilizing that 97%. Keep hold of that. Keep encouraging your brain. Make a gratitude list. We are always complaining, I'm not able to do this, I did not get this, I did not get that. But never do we write a list, আমার কি হয়েছে, আমি কি পেয়েছি. So it is very important, not every day, but at least once a month, write down a list of gratitude. কিসের জন্য আমি grateful in life. It could be simple as আমার স্ত্রী যে লোকটা, সে আমাকে helps me in running my life. সে আমাকে স্ত্রী করে দেয় বলে আমি এই কাজ করি. It could be simple things like that. But start writing the gratitude list. It is very important. It helps in your mental well-being. And the last one, written in green, is my theory. I do that. So 8 glasses of water and hugging at least 8 people a day. It could be known persons, it could be unknown. You probably met for the first time, but that helps you. ভেতরে শরীরের ভেতরে মাথার ভেতরে অনেক কিছু তোলপাড় হয় এটা করে, and that is good actually. Emotional health কে develop করে. I really mean it. You guys should start really. So this is all about prevention, and I think it sounds very simple, but it is difficult to incorporate, implement it. অনেকে এখানে বসে ভাবছে কালকে থেকেই শুরু করবো, কিন্তু হবে না। Right? So all these things you have to do it consistently. একদিন করলাম, এক সপ্তাহ করলাম না, আবার পরশুদিন করলাম, হবে না। ছোট্ট করে করবো, 5 minutes করে করবো, কিন্তু taking up each consistently every day. It's not how many hours you have done it, that you have done it. It's more important. Now comes diagnosing it better. Dementia diagnosis is very, very challenging. It's not that you go to a doctor and facing all these signs and symptoms, please find out what I need to do. It takes many, many months to come to a confirmed diagnosis of dementia. And the doctor will basically
take a lot of medical history, do a lot of tests, neuropsychological assessment tests. Many of you are aware of it. Now, what is happening all over the world is that it is in this diagnosis process that a lot of gaps are being created. And it is not just in developing countries like ours, even in developed countries, gaps are being created in diagnosing a person well. So the first thing we really need to do is increase brain health awareness. We are all worried about the rest part of our body. গলার নিচে যত অঙ্গ শরীরে আছে সেগুলো নিয়ে ব্যস্ত আমরা, হাঁটুর ব্যথা, কোমরের ব্যথা, and we discuss. খুব গল্পের মতো করে আমরা সবাইকে আলোচনা করে বলি, জানো তো আমার হাঁটুর ব্যথা শুরু হয়েছে বা আমার কোমরে ব্যথা করছে। Never for a moment will we ever discuss যে আমার মনে হচ্ছে কিছু অসুবিধা হচ্ছে মনে রাখতে বা কাজ করতে কিছু একটা। Because anything related to brain health is stigmatized. So we do not want to open up, forget the community, even within our family, we keep it within ourselves. So we need to increase awareness of brain health, make it a fashionable thing to talk about. Okay? So that is something that the younger generation should pick up as something as to how creatively they can increase brain health awareness. Number two is using appropriate tools and timely diagnosis. Timely diagnosis doesn't happen. It's usually in the moderate stage that people with dementia come to us, because the family members actually realize that there is something wrong much later into the illness. So we need to make sure that timely diagnosis is done, and therefore awareness is needed around brain health. And using appropriate tools is, especially in a country like ours, such a diverse population, one tool is not helping. Say for example, whether it's MMSE or the MOCA scale that you use to detect dementia, you go to a rural area, a remote area, and you start using that scale. And end of the test, you mark that person 8 or 9 and 10 and say, why has dementia? But that may be all false, because clock drawing is something that the rural person is not used to. তাহলে আমি কেন করব clock drawing? And this is actually a very practical example that was given by Dr. Aladi again, who said that she was visiting these rural areas and this lady was having trouble doing the clock drawing. So immediately she asked the lady, Almona, can you draw something? Because South Khabar Badite Baire Almona. And it did not take her a second to start, and a very complicated Almona design উনি তৈরি করলেন। যেখানে উনি ক্লক ড্রয়িংটা স্ট্রাগল করছেন, সেখানে Almona একটা মানে very complicated design করতে পারে। So that kind of gives us an alarm that clock drawing পারছে না মানে cognitive কোনো issue আছে তা না। It's just that that person is not used to that. So we have to make sure the tools যেগুলো আমরা ব্যবহার করি, and especially young people, psychology যারা কাজ করছেন, think around what questions would be appropriate when asking your prospective clients or whoever within the population that you are really detecting. Last one is meaningful assessment and reference. This is where all the healthcare professionals really need to sit up and think how to meaningfully do the assessment. Many of the people living with dementia in their very early stages and family members come to tell us that ডাক্তারের সাথে বা হেলথ প্রফেশনাল যিনি ছিলেন তার সাথে যদি if I could build a relationship, তাহলে হয়তো অনেক কোয়েশ্চেন মার্ক যেগুলো আমার আছে সেগুলো হয়তো ক্লিয়ার হয়ে যেত ভেরি আর্লি ইন দ্য ডিজিজ। কিন্তু যেহেতু রিলেশনশিপ বিল্ড হয়নি উইথ মাই হেলথ প্রফেশনাল, সেই জন্যে আমি অনেক কথাই আমার উত্তর পাইনি বা তিনিও হয়তো জানতে পারেন। So it is not just from the caregiver side, in fact it is from the health professional side that you need to work on building a relationship with our client. Not to focus, acha ebar bolun, eta, na kore, focus on the social aspect, the psychological aspect, at the time developing relationship and then starting. And it has been seen, if done that way, the diagnosis or the assessment is very, very meaningful. And the health professionals should also refer to the right places for support. And this is very, very important. So diagnosing, when we are diagnosing, we have to focus on these key points. Supporting or living there. Training caregivers skills pieces. Caregivers are those who are involved in personal care, care whether it's a family caregiver or a professional caregiver. Training is a must. And training is not theoretical. I don't mean the theoretical training here. I mean how to solve problems then and there. So, to train caregivers, you need to make sure that they are developing their common sense, which is lacking the most in most caregivers. And whether it's family caregivers or the professionals. So, common sense. Developing common sense, because sometimes not everybody is born with common sense. You kind of develop that as you face situations in life. So, common sense, creativity, you have to be creative to become a dementia caregiver. So when we train caregivers, we keep telling them that you could have answers to the problem that would make no sense. But the fact that you're thinking differently is the key. And you actually will solve problems if you are thinking differently, creatively. Other than creativity, common sense, you have curiosity. The more curious you are as a caregiver, the better you will be able to solve problems. You have to be a detective in that home environment and really finding answers to what is creating the issue at home. So training caregivers, no doubt, we really need to invest in training of caregivers in the recent future. And believe me, sitting here, all of you are caregivers, all of us are caregivers in some way or the other. Probably the role that you're playing as caregiver now is not demanding a lot of your time and your energy. But given the statistics that we saw for dementia, we could either be fixing the problem as a person living with it, or it would be looking after someone who has dementia. So you need to know, understand, have the essence of what it is to care for a person living with dementia. Balanced care in a digitized world. Especially after COVID, there's this hybrid mode, right? A lot of these centers that care for people with dementia are experimenting with this hybrid mode, where they are providing person-to-person, in-person, face-to-face care, as well as over the net. We have ourselves done online assessment over internet, and there is no way the face-to-face interaction, there's every way the face-to-face interaction will benefit over this hybrid online mode. So we'll have to make sure that we create that balance. Both. We should have the digitized version as well as the in-person. Hearing voices of people living with dementia. The day the person living with dementia is diagnosed, the family leaves the chamber of the doctor, and since that day, the person who is living with the condition actually is not heard anymore. Everybody else is deciding for that person. কখন সে খাবে, কখন সে ঘুমাবে, কখন সে বাথরুমে গিয়ে স্নান করবে, কখন সে কোনটা খাবে, কি করবে, everything is decided by everybody else than the person. But if you really talk to these people living with dementia, especially in our daycare center where they're early moderate stage, if you really spend your time, and I'm sure all the staff that I I have here today, volunteers that I have here today will agree with me that the more time you spend with these people, they actually prove you wrong that they are unable to do this. They are able to do it. It's just that we are not presenting them with the opportunity. We are assuming that they will not be able to do it. So, we have been surveying people living with dementia over the past few years, and most of them tell us few things. One is, come and sit with us, listen to us. Make sure that you ensure our privacy. That is not at all considered. So I think hearing people living with dementia, their voices, incomingly is will be very, very important. So when a person with dementia walks into your chamber or wherever you are, along with a family member, do not focus your attention or your eyes only to the caregiver. Make sure that you are equally dividing your attention between the two. Because most of the time, the person living with dementia is ignored. Not consciously, but they are ignored. So that is a very important one. The last one is organizing and financing long-term services. In recent future, we will have to make sure that we are fundraising there scattered around. So if somebody wants to go and visit a grocery shop within that enclosed area, that person will be, free to move. And the caregivers trained there will be actually playing a make-believe world. The staff will be monitoring this place. So some staff will be sitting as a ticket counter with their right? So this is the concept that we have, and we hope that such villages, I don't know if you have read the New York Times said recently, New York village is from the dementia village is from the radiated, and that is the future of dementia. We will not be able to manage people living with dementia, the challenges that one faces, unless until we really come up with very innovative ideas like this. The last one is, of course, dying well. This is a very debatable subject to discuss. The first question that comes to mind is, what is good death? And each will have an individual answer, what good death means. Most of us, we ignore this subject because we are uncomfortable with the subject of death. We don't talk about it. That's the biggest mistake we make, because that's the biggest reality in life. Everything else may not happen, but death is going to occur for all of us. So the more we talk about it, how you feel about it, what you want at that end moment is what dying well means. And you have to take your own responsibility of how you want to die well, not your family members. Because you're burdening the family members if you are thinking that, okay, at one stage when my prognosis is very poor and I'm unable to take decisions on my behalf, who is going to speak? Right now it's my children who will speak, right? That's a market But children are not happy when they're doing it because they are unsure whether this is okay for my father, okay for my mother or not. But if I take my decision, if my prognosis is poor and I know I'm going to die, it could be 2 days or 2 months, you know as a family what you're going to do with it. So you basically come up with a living will, which is still not practiced a lot in India, it's not yet recognized, but you can come up with your own living will where you put down how you will be taken care at that stage. So our biggest responsibility is to overcome, and the way we can do it is actually introduce the subject of death and dying at schools. The children should be introduced to this subject because they are the first one we do not include. But they are the ones who include. I was talking to this lady the other day. Her mother is living with dementia, and her mother was visiting her last month. She was extremely upset because she said, my son is looking at my mother, and I think it's a huge challenge on his mental health. I kept quiet for a moment and I said, why? She said, he is struggling to see his grandmother do things that are not appropriate, and it is not good for his mental health. But I kept questioning her, why do you think it's not good for his mental health? Have you ever discussed the subject with him? Why does he, you are assuming that it is bad for his mental health. You should be sitting with him and actually having an open conversation. Because he may be in future looking at you being in that stage. If he does not learn it now, how do you expect him to take care of you when you go to that stage? So it is very important that we start educating the children. Receive the right support and care, of course, at that stage. So overuse of medication, underuse of medication, different kinds of things happen at the end stage. So if you can take your own decision, or if is able to decide on his or her own behalf, it's important that you document these things and do it. Lead to improvement in the quality of life of everyone involved. In fact, if you actually address the subject of death and dying, it will be beneficial for everybody involved in this. There is a group in the US that I worked with a few months. They're called the death doulas. DEATH, DOULS, death doulas. And these people are trained to sit in front of a person who's dying. Because family members are uncomfortable sitting in front of their loved ones when the person is dying. So death doulas are trained to sit and converse with that person, their wishes, their unfulfilled things that they have in mind. And what this death doulas do is listen to that person and then conveys it to the family. And then finds what the family has to say and then conveys it to the person. Because the family members are uncomfortable sitting, and therefore these death doulas do it. So we actually need to really think of that as professionals, whether we could do it, because given the medical system, most of us will be dying in hospitals alone in coming years. We will not be having our loved ones. I don't want to do that. So I already have a living will that I have it signed by my family members. They refused to sign it earlier, but I made sure that they did. And in that I have what I don't want to what I have. So it even includes the songs that I want to listen to while I'm dying. So put down those, whatever you want. Rasgulla will die when I'm dying. Whatever it is. But you need to do this, because that is how you will ensure that you will die there. I will end just a brief of what our organization does. As Dr. Mohammed mentioned, we are a non-profit organization registered in the state of West Bengal since 1999. This organization was started by Mrs. Shefali Choudhury. She was 83 years old then when her daughter, Deepika, had Alzheimer's disease in her early 50s. And Mrs. Choudhury felt at that age, at the age of 80, she felt, and imagine an 80-year-old thinking beyond her struggles, beyond her challenges, thinking that there must be other family members like me who are struggling to take care of their loved ones, and I think I should do something about it. And that's how she started the organization, and I joined her. So these are some of the things we do. You can, QR code is there for you. You can learn more about it. You can take it to our website. One of the programs that we have and where we invite students to come and join us is our daycare center, where people living with dementia come and spend their day. And you could be a part of that environment where you could, enjoy your time. Don't come there with a sad face, because you will be surprised that these people are actually having fun there. They are not sitting there saying that, oh, I'm forgetting. They're actually having fun. Because enjoyment does not require memory, believe me. So you are most welcome. I actually have a volunteer here, Shohil, who is here. from our daycare center. He comes every Saturday. Shoaib, would you just maybe a few words on your experience and what you have, a message for your future generation here? I think Shoaib, I asked Shoaib, 3 months is over for your volunteering. Can you stop? He said, but that's the only day I have fun. So Saturdays he comes to us, and I would really want Shoaib to say a few words. Thank you.
So first of all, I would like to pass on my greetings to everyone present over here. And it's I joined ARDSI last year in October, and it's about to be 1 year right now. So as Nilanjana mentioned, as Nilanjana mentioned that Saturdays are the only days of the week where I actually have fun with the people I really enjoy with. And it's very fun to share this with you all, that how the term forgetting is mentioned that one of the main symptoms, right? And it's really great and fortunate enough to know that people with whom I interact once a week remember me the next week I go there. And with my name, that too. It's a great thing. And things that I would like to mention over here is that how fortunate I am with the staff members over there, how welcoming they are, how they create an environment where I can actually learn. And I'm a third year psychology student at Sister Nivedita University, and it is actually helping me know or understand how human behavior is can be molded in a very different way in different contexts with different people, and it's totally dependent on how you interact with them. With different activities, whether it is related to some kind of cognitive abilities, whether it's just a motor skill, exercising practice, whether it's time of eating, different preferences that are being, different preferences that people have. One of the most important things that I learned at the daycare center is the importance of consent. That how, even though you might assume that the person is unable to give their own consent for their own well-being and all not, but let me tell you all that how each of them have their preferences and they make it very clear to you. Whether they want to be touched, whether they want to be hugged, whether they want you to help them stand up from a chair or not. So the importance of consent is very important. And yeah, that's all. And it's really fun having fun with them with different activities, just talking to them. One thing that I keep mentioning after, it's been 1 month since that incident, and I mentioned to everyone that how one of the Dadu over there was sitting with me before going home, and I was with him, talking to him about different things. Big Amitabh Bachchan fan, him. And he just told me that how he forgets things, and he's aware of that. So he wants me to write my name over his palm so that he can remember my name. And I did that. And he actually started to remember my name in front of me with the practice of chunking, S-A-H-I-L-S-I-N. And he made sure that he actually learned that by reciting that to me again. And it's really beautiful to hold on these memories and to learn and just to gain experience that how things are changing and how I can be a part of the change. Thank you.
You pointed out a very important aspect, which is people with dementia actually kind of teach you great lessons in life. One of them is a moment, how to enjoy a moment. As people with all cognitive abilities, right now as I'm standing, I'm thinking, okay, what's Nishi going to say next? Or what am I going to have for dinner tonight? While doing that, I'm actually missing this moment, the connection that I can establish with you. Muhurto is one such short documentary that highlights how to enjoy moments with people living with dementia, because they actually live in the moment. They don't remember the past much. They cannot think of the future, and therefore they are the happiest people. They are living in the moment, and they will teach you how to live in the moment. This, if you can watch, and if you can leave your comment after watching, that would be great. Thank you very much. And this is our program that is coming on the 24th of September. The focus is, as you mentioned, never too early, never too late. Focus is on risk reduction of dementia, and this seminar will actually focus on how to reduce your risk theoretically first and then practically. So you're most welcome to be a part of this. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful entrance talk. I think someone may have any questions, ma'am, or want to add something. So please do so. Yes.
I'd like to, because I'm in this discipline of psychology, I'd like to mention a few things. And it's wonderful that you are going to Calcutta village. So it is there, please give the detail to us, all of us, partner. Secondly, what I'd like to say, that is, in any sort of psychological testing, it is not the test material of testing that's important, which is very important in the clinical acumen of the psychologist. So whenever it happens that, suppose you were talking about that frog trial, okay? So we have to know why we are doing the frog trial. The purpose, the objective of this frog trial is to understand the unilateral neglect in the patient. So if it is the purpose of identifying unilateral neglect in the patient, we do never, the psychologist never go for this strictly maintaining the stimulus. We know that this is the motion. Now, as you say, the leg. If I do see, there is no problem. We do it. That is in whatever they can do. My objective is to understand the unilateral neglect. So also the bilateral thing. So if it is so that they are missing one part and doing the other part, just bilateral, they become unilateral neglect. So that gives us the information. Okay, and whenever we do the testing, we never do like this. That is question answer session. It's never like that. It's the very from the very beginning. Very important is the ambience. In which ambience I'm testing my patient. So it is said rapport, but something more than rapport, and the psychoeducation of the family members. So it's not that from the very first day we start testing, because it's not only the ambience in the clinic only, but it's also the ambience in their home is also important. So when they come to the comfort zone after psychoeducating the family members, and then and we do not do it, very secularly. So there are many in our case, because we are in the university, our scholars are there, and they create a beautiful ambience because they are aged and they are young. So it's a wonderful communication between them. And it is not dementia. I'm telling you, one doctor came to us, and he is a psychiatrist, and he had multiple nervous stroke. And he forgot everything. He couldn't do anything, forgot the name of the family members, wives, sons, everything. So couldn't remember the name of the medicine. So you will find that he is telling something like, because now he is fully functional, and he is doing all his jobs. He is attending 4 chambers. I was discussing with Shomkit and other professors of CPEPA that day, that definitely I will go for case reporting that it is not dementia. And also we did some with the very young dementia patient. Another point what she was raising about this affect, this emotion, this hugging. So, when there is the cognitive deterioration starts, so cognitive input doesn't work for them. So for that reason, just in case of a child, it's not important what I am saying. Suppose when you are doing the lullaby, that tone is very important than what the content of it. I used to say my daughter, anything comes in my mind right at that moment. So it's not actually important, but the tone is important. So in case of these dementia cases or this type of stroke patients who has lost all the things. So what happens is, it's very important is touch. You know, this hugging, because that message, just like a child, is meaningful to them. So when it is very meaningful to them, they feel safe, they feel secure. My mother had Alzheimer's. So what happens it is, when we used to go regularly, we used to sing. And we found that whenever we are singing, she remembers all the words of the songs because the rhythm is present. So in this way, you have to create the ambience. Another, I'm giving the example of another doctor. She's a very renowned doctor in our locality. So her doctor came to me, and she was in my neighborhood, and I was also there. Now, what happened? That is, they said she's talking so much with you. She's gossiping so much with you because of the thing. Whatever she was saying was totally irrelevant. It was not relevant, but it was related to if some guest comes, what to do? Oh, তুমি এসেছো, তুমি এখানে থাকো, আচ্ছা. Now, whatever she is saying is not reality based, but there is no reason I will challenge her. So I didn't challenge naturally, and the conversation went on. At the end, when I'm coming back, so she was asking her husband, তুমি ওনাকে গাড়িটা বার করে দাও, তুমি ওনাকে গাড়ি করে পৌঁছে দাও. She doesn't remember যে আমি ওনার পাশে থাকি, but she remembers, but she has this thing যে someone guest এলে তাকে কিভাবে attend করতে হয়, কিভাবে respect করতে হয়. So this is a thing which I like most of this thing. But testing, you know, testing is always considering a person. And person, the client, the psychologist.
Thank you. Those with Alzheimer might forget us. We as a society must not forget them and remember them. Okay, ma'am, I would like to felicitate you. Ms. Niranjana, we would like to felicitate you. So, on behalf of us, our research scholar, Oil Seeker, will do the honors. So now let us watch a beautiful documentary, Muhurto, an ARDSI Calcutta production directed by Sri Gupta.
ম্যাডাম ওটা আর কিছু করা যাবে না, মাদারবোর্ডে কয়েকটা সেক্টর নষ্ট হয়ে গেছে, মেমোরি চিপটা মনে হচ্ছে করা, পুরোনো ছবি ভিডিও ওসব আপনি কিচ্ছু পাবেন না।
ওই মাদারবোর্ড কি ওটা রিপেয়ার করা যায় না?
না,
পাল্টানো যাবে না?
ম্যাডাম এত পুরোনো একটা ফোন, তার মাদারবোর্ড পাওয়া খুব মুশকিল, আর তাছাড়া ওটা যদি পাল্টানো হয় তাহলে তো একটা অন্য ফোন হবে, আর আপনার পুরোনো ডেটা তো আর ফিরে আসবে না।
দোকানে এসেছি, গাড়ি সার্ভিসিং কোথায়? আজ নয় তো কাল, ভাবছি রিপোর্টগুলো নিয়ে আমি একাই যাব। কি আমি গাড়ি দাঁড়াতে শুনতে পাই না কিছু? কি গেছিলাম তো এমআরআই স্ক্যান সব দিয়ে, তিনি নিউরোলজিস্ট, মনে তো সবই আছে কিন্তু কতটা বুঝেছি বলতে পারবো না। এ না সারা না সরা, এভাবে কথা বলছি মানে এ তোরা কি ভাবিস? ধোয়ায় ধোয়া। ব্রেডগুলো সব কেটে রাখা আর কলাগুলো গোল গোল করে কেটে ফ্রাই প্যানে বসানো। গ্যাস হাই ফ্লেমে চলছে। কলাগুলো পুড়ছে আর ও চুপচাপ মাটিতে বসে সেটা দেখছে। এসব কে সামলায়? এইসব ঝড়গুলো কাকে সামলাতে হয়? এত দূর থেকে না সব বড় বড় কথা বলা খুব সোজা। কাকে বলবো? কে শুনবে এসব? না না, কিছু ঠিক নেই। শোন, তুই চুপ কর তো। আর ভালো লাগছে না কথা বলতে, আমি এখন রাখছি। আবার কি বলবো? বলবি তো? না না, নেই। মেজাজ আমার কি আছে? আমার না, আমার আর মেজাজ টেজাজ আর কিছু নেই। কাকে মেজাজ দেখাবো? সারা বাড়িটায় থাকি তো শুধু দুজন, তোর বাবা আর আমি। আমি কাকে বলবো? শোনার মতো কে আছে যে সারা রাত আমার ঘুম হয় না, ঘুমোতে পারি না? হঠাৎ চোখ খুলে দেখি যে অন্ধকারের মধ্যে চুপচাপ দাঁড়িয়ে আছে। আমি বললাম, কি গো, তুমি জেগে আছো, ঘুমোবে না? ঘরে নাকি সব অচেনা লোকজন ঢুকে পড়েছে। ব্যাস, ফ্ল্যাটের আলো জেলে সারা ফ্ল্যাট ঘুরে দেখালাম, কেউ কোথাও নেই। তারপরে গায়ে মাথায় হাত বুলিয়ে দিয়ে ঘুম পাড়ালাম। দুদিন সব ঠিকঠাক। তারপর কি মারাত্মক কাণ্ড করলো জানিস? আমাকে ঘুম থেকে তুলে অপট্ট নোংরা ভাষায় গালিগালাজ করে বলল, লজ্জা করে না আপনার? একজন অচেনা অজানা লোকের বেডরুমে ঢুকে শুয়ে আছে। আমারও গেল মাথাটা গরম হয়ে, আমিও দু কথা শুনিয়ে দিলাম। তারপর আমাকে হাত ধরে টেনে ঘর থেকে বের করে দিল। সারা রাত আমি ওই সোফায় বসে। কাকে বলবো আমি এসব? যাকে আমার ভালো লাগছে না, ডাকছি।
ম্যাডাম, আপনার কি শরীর খারাপ হয়েছে ম্যাডাম? ম্যাডাম একটু দাঁড়া গরম।
না, ঠিক আছে।
সরি, আসলে আমি ভাবলাম মানে আপনার উপর যে স্ট্রেস যাচ্ছে, আপনি ফোনে বলছিলেন, তাই আই এম সরি।
সরি, কোন অবস্থায় করলে মানুষ অটোর মধ্যে এভাবে চেঁচায়। যার কথা বলছিলাম তিনি আমার হাজবেন্ড। বিজ্ঞাপনের অফিসে ক্রিয়েটিভ হেড ছিলেন, এখন বিনা মাইনের ছুটিতে। হবে নাই না কেন? অফিসে জরুরি মিটিং, প্রেজেন্টেশন, সব স্লাইড টাইম বানিয়ে রেডি। ব্যাস, অফিস থেকে ফোন করছে, উনি না হলে তো হবে না। কোথায় উনি? উনি বাড়িতে ঘুমোচ্ছেন। আমি কি বললাম? প্রেজেন্টেশন আকাশ থেকে পড়ল। কে সহ্য করবে সব? সহ্য করার লোক তো আমি একা। আমি কি করবো?
আচ্ছা, আপনি ডাক্তারও তো দেখিয়েছিলেন।
হোমিওপ্যাথি, আয়ুর্বেদ, ফ্যামিলি ফিজিশিয়ান, আজ নিয়ে 4 জন। দৌড়দৌড়ি তো সব আমি করছি।
আচ্ছা, আপনার বাড়িতে একজন নেই?
না, আমরা 2 জন। অমন একটা ইন্টেলিজেন্ট ছটছটে লোক চোখের সামনে কিরম বদলে যাচ্ছে। কিছু করারই নেই আমার।
আপনি অনেক দেরি করে এসেছেন। আমি প্রথম দিনে যা ভেবেছিলাম ব্রেন স্ক্যান কিন্তু ঠিক তাই বলছে। আসলে কি জানেন, আমাদের ব্রেন হলো শরীরের হেড অফিস। উপর থেকে যে নির্দেশ বা যে সিগন্যাল দেবে শরীরের অংশকে, সেটা শুনবে এবং সে অনুযায়ী কাজ করবে। কিন্তু সেই নির্দেশ যদি ঠিক মতো না আসে, তাহলে সেই মতো কাজ হবে না বা একেবারে কাজ বন্ধ হয়ে যাবে। আপনার হাজবেন্ডের ব্রেনের কিছু সেলে ডিজেনারেশন হয়েছে, মানে কোষে ক্ষয় হয়েছে, সেজন্যই উনি এরকম করছেন। আর একে বলে ডিমেনশিয়া, সেরিব্রাল ডিজেনারেশন, যেটাতে মানুষের মনে রাখার ক্ষমতা কমে যায় আর চিন্তা ভাবনা করার ধরনটাও পাল্টে যায়। এমনকি সমস্ত ছোট ছোট সিম্পল কাজগুলো করতেও অসুবিধা হয়। আপনার হাজবেন্ডের ঠিক এটাই হচ্ছে। ডিমেনশিয়ার অনেক ধরন আছে, আপনার হাজবেন্ডের যেটা হয়েছে সেটা ভাস্কুলার ডিমেনশিয়া, কিন্তু মুশকিল কি জানেন, এটা একটা রিলেন্টলেসলি প্রোগ্রেসিভ ডিজিজ, মানে ব্রেনের এই যে ক্ষয়টা ক্রমশই বাড়তে থাকে।
এখন ওষুধ খেলে ছেড়ে যাবে না?
আসলে সারিয়ে দেওয়ার তো কোনো ওষুধ নেই, পৃথিবীর কোথাওই নেই। যে ওষুধপত্রগুলো দেওয়া হয় সেটা হচ্ছে ব্রেনের এই যে ক্রমশ ক্ষয়টা বাড়তে থাকে সেই প্রক্রিয়াটাকে স্লো ডাউন করা হয়।
কিন্তু এটা তো শুনেছি অনেক বয়স হলে হয়, তাই না?
হ্যাঁ, ডিমেনশিয়া বেশিরভাগ ক্ষেত্রে বয়স্ক মানুষদেরই দেখা যায়, কিন্তু তার মানে এই নয় যে বয়স হলেই ডিমেনশিয়া হবে বা সমস্ত বয়স্ক মানুষরাই ডিমেনশিয়াতে ভুগবে। আপনার হাজবেন্ডেরই বা এমন কি বয়স? আসলে মোস্টলি ডিমেনশিয়ার সঠিক কারণ এখনো জানা যায়। ঘাবড়ে গিয়ে বা মন খারাপ করতে কিছু হবে না, চেষ্টা করতে হবে যাতে উনি ভালো থাকেন, আর আপনার ভালো থাকাটাও খুব জরুরি। আর 5 জনের সাথে মিলিয়ে বা আগে ওনার সাথে ওনাকে তুলনা করে কষ্ট পেয়ে কি লাভ করুন? এমনকি একই ঘর একই জায়গা ওদের কাছে প্রত্যেক দিন অন্যরকম অচেনা হয়ে উঠতে পারে। মনে নেই আগের দিন উনি এখান থেকে বেরোতেই চাইছিলেন, অথচ দেখুন আজ এখান থেকে বাইরে যাওয়ার জন্য ব্যস্ত হয়ে উঠলে। তার মানে কি? মানে আর এই ঘরটা এই জায়গাটা ওনার কাছে অচেনা মনে হয়েছে। প্রত্যেকটি কাজ ওদের কাছে সাংঘাতিক জটিল। আপনি একদম মন খারাপ করবেন না। আচ্ছা শুনুন, আপনি ওনাকে নিয়ে 2 মাস পরে আবার আসুন। আমি শুনেছি এরকম একটা জায়গা আছে যেখানে ডিমেনশিয়া আক্রান্ত মানুষেরা যান, অনেকটা সময় কাটান, এনজয় করেন, ভালো থাকেন। আপনি সেখানে গিয়ে খোঁজ করতে পারেন। দেখুন, এই অসুখে হয়তো কিওর করতে আমরা পারবো না, কিন্তু কেয়ারটা তো আমাদের নিজেদের হাতে, আর কেয়ার মানুষের সমস্ত হিসেব পাল্টে দিতে পারে। আপনি নিজেকে স্ট্রং করুন, আর আপনি ভালো না থাকলে আপনার হাজবেন্ডকে ভালো রাখবেন কি করে?
মা,
হ্যাঁ বল।
বাবা কোথায়?
ভেতরে।
আমি তোমার একটা ফোন নাম্বার আর অ্যাড্রেস হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ করছি, তুমি প্লিজ যোগাযোগ করো। কি হলো? আরে একটা দিনে তো অন্যরকম হবে নাকি? ওই একই ফ্ল্যাটের মধ্যে রোজ রোজ একই মুখ, তোমার তো একটু রিলিফ দরকার মা, তুমি প্লিজ যাও। আচ্ছা আমি যাবো। আচ্ছা শোনো তা,
কি গো, কি কাণ্ড করেছো তুমি? কিছু খুঁজছো?
ওই গানটা, ওই যে গানটা তুমি শীঘ্র করো। আচ্ছা ওই গানটা আপনি এখন বাড়ি যাননি?
কাল আমরা একটা জায়গায় যাবো। কেমন?
কোথায়?
ম্যাডাম আসুন। স্যার আপনিও আসুন। স্যার আসুন।
Only a senior citizen day. Only a senior citizen day. Good. Good. तो हाथ करा दे रहे.
Sir, सामने.
আমি ফোন করেছি আসুন আপনি বাবা আসুন 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 বসুন নমস্কার আমি নীলাঞ্জনা বসুন একটু জল চা কিছু ঠিক একদম সব ঠিক আচ্ছা এবার শুনি আপনার কথা শুনি একটু হ্যালো স্যার গুড মর্নিং আপনার নামটা স্যার
জি
আর টাইটেল
মিস্টার
ও আচ্ছা 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 আপনার বয়সটা কত
গান কোথায় হচ্ছে
ও গান আপনি গান ভালোবাসেন আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে আগেই আমরা করে নিই একটু এই খেলাটা তারপরে আমরা গান শুনতে যাই ঠিক আছে আচ্ছা এখানে আপনি কি দেখছেন কতগুলো সংখ্যা কতগুলো অক্ষর 1 থেকে 5 পর্যন্ত সংখ্যা 9 পর্যন্ত অক্ষর এবার আমরা একটা সংখ্যা একটা অক্ষর এরকম ভাবে জুড়বো 1 থেকে ক ক থেকে 2 2 থেকে
খ
এই তো খুব ভালো কেয়ার গিভার হিসেবে আপনার যে জার্নিটা সেটা কিন্তু অল্প দিনের না এটা একটা দীর্ঘ সময় ধরে চলবে এবং নানান রকম সমস্যার সম্মুখীন আপনাকে হতে হবে কাজে নিজের ভালো থাকাটা ভীষণ প্রয়োজন হবে আপনার এইটুকু জানবেন যে মানুষটাকে নিয়ে অনেক কিছু করা যায় উনি অনেক ভালো থাকতে পারেন সেটা আমাদের অ্যাজ কেয়ার গিভার্স নির্ভর করছে এবং অ্যাজ কেয়ার গিভার্স আমরা কিভাবে আমাকে পারসিভ করছি সেটাই কিন্তু সারা পৃথিবী তাকে পারসিভ করবে বাড়ির লোকেরা যদি জোর দিয়ে তার পাশে দাঁড়িয়ে থাকে তাহলে কিন্তু সারা পৃথিবীর লোকও দাঁড়াবে পাশে মানুষটা কিছু কিছু জিনিস আমরা অ্যাভয়েড করবো অ্যাজ কেয়ার গিভার্স আমরা ওনাকে ইরিটেট করা বন্ধ করবো ওনাকে কন্ট্রাডিক্ট করা বন্ধ করবো ওনাকে থামাবো না ইন্টারাপ্ট করবো না ওনাকে প্রথম হচ্ছে একজন ডিমেনশিয়া মানুষ ডিমেনশিয়া হওয়া সত্ত্বেও তার যে ব্রেনে ড্যামেজ হয়েছে তার সত্ত্বেও কিন্তু সে যদি একটা পজিটিভ একটা ফান লাভিং এনভায়রনমেন্টের মধ্যে থাকে তাহলে কিন্তু তাকে খুব ভালো রাখা যায় আরেকটা যেটা ভুল ধারণা আমাদের যে একজন ডিমেনশিয়া মানুষ কিছু করতে পারে না এটা কিন্তু ভুল ধারণা এই কেয়ার গিভাররা যদি তাকে অপরচুনিটিটা দেয় তাহলে দেখা যাবে সে ইন মাইন্ড ইন বডি ইন স্পিরিট আপনার সাথে একভাবে তাল মিলিয়ে সে সবকিছু করতে পারছে এই এখন বসে হয়তো আমি চিন্তা করছি আপনার সাথে কথা বলা হয়ে গেলে আমি নেক্সট কি করবো সবসময় ফিউচার চিন্তা করছি নয় আমি গতকাল কি হয়েছিল বাড়িতে সেটা চিন্তা করছি এই যে মুহূর্তটা আপনার সাথে এইটার মধ্যে যদি আমি এনগেজ না হই তাহলে কিন্তু আমি এই মুহূর্তটা মিস করে যাচ্ছি ডিমেনশিয়া মানুষের ক্ষেত্রে ওনারা কিন্তু এই মুহূর্ততেই বেঁচে আছেন এভরি মোমেন্ট দে লিভ তার পাস সে অতটা মনে রাখতে পারছে না যত প্রোগ্রেস করছে ডিজিজ ফিউচার তো তার সম্ভব না কাজে সে দে লিভ ইন দ্য মোমেন্ট এন্ড পিপল উইথ ডিমেনশিয়া অ্যাকচুয়ালি টিচ ইউ দ্যাট গ্রেট লেসন ইন লাইফ যে লিভিং ইন দ্য মোমেন্ট ইজ দ্য বেস্ট গিফট ওয়ান ক্যান হ্যাভ আপনার মতো মনের অবস্থা নিয়ে অনেক মানুষই আসেন কিন্তু দেখুন আমি আপনাকে দেখাচ্ছি তারা এই মুহূর্তে কেমন আছেন
যতটা সম্ভব দেখভাল করি এবং রিয়েলাইজ করি আমি যেদিন গুড মুডে থাকি সেদিন ও খুব ভালো থাকে
আমরা চেষ্টা করছি যতটা আপনাকে অ্যালার্ট রাখা যায় আর সেই জন্য ডক্টরের বাড়িতে রোজই যতটা ওর মানে আশেপাশের লোকজনের থাকে। মেনলি বলবো যে এই এদের সাথে আর্গুমেন্ট করতে যা বলছি শুনে দাও, যেটা আমি ফিল করেছি। এই যে বললো রাত্রি 10:30টার সময় বললো ডক্টর সাথে সব ছেড়ে দিল, মেয়ের কথা বেশি করে বলে ঠিক আছে তোমার চোখ খুলে দাও, যে নিচেও চলে গেল ঘুরে আসো বুঝে গেছে। যখন নিজেই একটু পরে বুঝতে পারছে যে এত রাত্রে কেউ আসার পথেও নয়, আবার এসে তারা
এবার বলো এবার কি হাসি কি হলো, বলো এবার কি?
সরঞ্জিত চক্রবর্তী শ্রী।
সরঞ্জিত কেমন ছেলে?
তুমি আমার মেয়ে কোথায়? ওকে দেখছি না তো।
ও তো হোস্টেলে থাকে।
হোস্টেল?
তোমায় খুব মিস করে, তোমায় খুব খুব ভালোবাসে। বাবার নামে কিচ্ছু বলা যাবে না। কথা বলবেন?
তুমি এরপর যেদিন ওকে ফোন করবে ওকে বলো আমি ওকে খুব ভালোবাসি, খুব।
আর আমাকে? আমাকে ভালোবাসো না?
দেখি মনি, তুমি লাল পরদীপটা লাগাওনি তো?
কি বললে? একবার বলো কি বললে? বলো একবার।
বিশ্বজিৎ চক্রবর্তী আমার দাদুর বাড়িতে কি করছিল?
ভাবতেই পারবি না এতদিন পর এই প্রথম পোশাক মনে পড়ে গেছে, ও ভালো হয়ে গেছে। মা মা চুপ করে গেলে কেন? মা হ্যালো হ্যালো